So, there have been delays at Dover of up to 15 hours. Quelle surprise. Another critical incident has been announced. But hold on a second, haven't we seen this before? This is Jacob Rees-Mogg talking with Nick Ferrari 8 months ago.
Smog, I wonder if I can take you back a number of years. This is you and I speaking in June 2018 when I asked whether there might be queues at Dover.
There'll be no need for checks at Dover, but it will be an ability to ensure that the roads keep running around Dover, even if there are delays at Calais. The delays will not be at Dover, they will be at Calais.
The delays will not be at Dover. You'll be aware 2 weeks ago it was actually declared a critical incident. Some people spent 12 hours in their cars, lorry drivers passed out, and children defecated in the lay-by. A response to what you said some years ago, Mr. Rees-Mogg.
Well, the response is that the delays are caused by the French.
What? The fault of the French? I thought we took back control.
But you said there'd be no delays at Dover, Mr. Rees-Mogg.
Yeah, but they are French-created delays.
But they are at Dover,
decided,
Mr. Rees-Mogg. Are you prepared to apologise that you got that wrong?
Yes, of course I got that wrong, but I got it wrong for the right reason, if I may put it that way.
Do expand.
The point I was making was that the only delays would be caused by the French if they decided not to allow British people to pass through freely. They have decided to do that. They failed to get people to turn up. And that is what caused the delays in Dover.
He's such a grifter. It's not whether the French decide to freely wave us through or not. We're no longer EU members. They have no choice but to treat us as such and have to be more thorough about the way they check our passports, etc. Anyway, this is Liz Truss 8 months ago as well.
The fact is that the French authorities have not put enough people on the border. And I'm in touch with the French authorities. I'm very clear that we need to see action from them to resolve the terrible situation that people are facing.
Again, blame it on the idle French. It's almost as though stopping free movement works both ways. Still, it would have been nice if we'd been warned about this lack of free movement.
I have a particular responsibility when it comes to taking back control. It is to end the free movement of people once and for all.
British people to pass through freely.
And takes back control of our borders. It ensures that we bring an end to free movement once and for all.
To pass through freely.
It's a pleasure to be back in the Chamber to speak on this second reading of the immigration bill, which will end EU freedom of movement.
Pass through freely.
We'll be taking back control of our borders and our immigration policy, which means an end to free movement.
Through freely.
Immigration bill, ending free movement.
Freely.
Fast forward to today and we're in the same boat. Suella Braverman has this to say.
It's a busy time of year. The CEO of Dover Port has said the difference of living in a post-Brexit environment means that every passport needs to be checked. Do we need to, after Brexit, just get used to this happening at busy periods?
So that's a really weird way of asking that question, but what she's basically saying is, does every passport post-Brexit now need to be checked? Yes or no?
No, I don't think that's fair to say this has been, an adverse effect of Brexit. I think we've had many years now since leaving the European Union, and there's been, on the whole, very good operations and processes
so he's wrong,
at
and you think the
CEO border. But what I would say is at acute times when there's a lot of pressure crossing the channel, whether that's on the tunnel or on ferries, then I think that there's always going to be a backup, and I just urge everybody to be a bit patient while the ferry companies work their way through the backlog.
A weak question and a weak answer. Anyway, let's see what the CEO of the Port of Dover has to say.
For every passenger going into the European Union, the passports need to be swiped and then they need to be stamped. In a carload of, say, 4 people, that will take a little while. But in a coach where you might have 60, maybe sometimes up to 80 people on some of the bigger ones, that's just going to take a long time.
And finally, to really drive the point home, here's Simon Calder, a travel expert, sharing his insight on GB News, no less.
Big problem with coaches is that, well, as you will know, after Brexit, we asked for tougher checks. So when you turn up at Dover, previously you just sort of waved the passport out of the window and that would be fine. Now we asked to be treated as third country nationals. So an officer is supposed to go through the passport, checking all your stamps. They then need to stamp the passport themselves, and that takes much, much longer than it did previously. Multiply that by 50 or 60 people on board a coach and you get delays. And there is nothing in the short term that is going to change that, I'm afraid.
So basically, yes, was the answer Braverman was looking for. The fact is, this isn't a problem that's going to be going anywhere. Not unless we have closer alignment with the EU. Like it or lump it, We voted for these issues. But fear not, every cloud and that, take it away, Jacob.
British people might think that going to Portugal is more fun because the Portuguese want us to go and the French are being very difficult. And why should we go and spend our hard-earned money in France if the French don't want us?
I would give an arm and a leg to sun it up in Portugal with Mr. Mogg. Obrigado, Jacob.